So any questions that you have will be recorded. Um, Anything in the chat will be here. Okay, so some of you need Revit, some of you need, all right, so let's start emailing me about programs that you need for class so that we can make sure we get that to you. I believe Revit is something where you can still get a free trial under your student ID if you don't already have it. Okay, so this is the concept board platform. Like I said, when you set up your board, you can put your name here. You just click on at the top of the screen, it'll have untitled. So you just click on it and rename it your name, first and last, Descrit, the date, okay? To insert things onto concept boards, you're going to use this plus sign in the upper left-hand corner to insert content. And then you'll be uploading files. There's a whole bunch of like templates and things on here. I don't typically use them, but it may be helpful to you. So that might be something you want to experiment with. I had one student that did that and it helped him. It didn't distract from anything. So do what you feel in your spirit in that regard. With uploading files, I'm not certain how well PDFs upload, so it may help for you to take an actual screenshot of your work similar to what is done up here, and then upload it as a JPEG or a PNG. Again, what I like about this particular platform and similar platforms to this, what I can't remember the names of at the moment, is that you can put notes on the side. So prior to me engaging with Kayla, right, she posted her work in concept board, and then she went about noting what she wanted to focus on during that desk critique. That helps you and me tremendously because you already have some talking points that you want to go over, some questions, if you will. And then you can write down whatever my answers are for that. And even if I don't get to all of your questions, I can come back to it because the board is shared on the cloud. I could come back to it later on and say, oh, by the way, Marco, maybe you should do XYZ in this plan or highlight this area in the section or something of that nature. So y'all picking up what I'm putting down? So when we do have desk, this is what I would like you to use. Lay out your things from right to left as we are explaining it. So typically during a design presentation, you would start with your overall context, your site, right? And then of course she has a mood board and material board because that was required for that particular project. But then she gets into her site map, floor plans, sections, etc. So you want to kind of format it in a way that reads in succession of information. So context, larger context site, smaller context, immediate context site, site plan, floor plans, sections, elevations, etc., etc. Okay. There is a sequence to what we do in design. And then of course she has a design detail here, which we went over, but I was able to like scribble scrabble and zoom in and zoom out and go over things with her. I think I can zoom in. Yeah. So just so you can see a little better what I'm talking about in terms of, you know, what you need to do. So she had questions about the windows and the roof plantings and how she should format the floor plans. And then some comments that I made about her stuff in class during a pinup. So these are all like little sticky notes. this tab up here is a sticky note. So these are all sticky notes that she like typed out prior to the desk critique so that, you know, I knew what she wanted to focus on for that 30 minutes, because you get a 30-minute time slot. And then there's a little less confusion. Your class is not as big as their class was, but hopefully this will be helpful. Okay, any questions about concept board before we move on? Nobody in chat. Who's in chat? Can you send out the link to concept board, please? Of course. So I will send you, I don't know how that came up. I will send you the link so you can get set up for your first desk critique when it is time. I'll send it to everybody. All right, so no questions as of right now? Yes. Each of you will have your own, but when I do the desk critiques, you have the option of sitting in on your classmates' desk crit. So desk crits are optional, pinups are mandatory. So any type of pinup, be it virtual or in person, all of you have to be present. Desk critiques, you can just kind of hover around and see what's going on, you know, so you can get information about the project, or a question might come up in your head that you wouldn't have had otherwise without seeing your classmates' work. All right, so I'm going to send out that invite shortly. Now we'll move on to assignment 1. So, and this is actually an assignment that I plan to do with you because I keep saying I'm going to, and I never do, so I'm a little excited about it. And you have the weekend to work on the first iteration. There we go. Beginning slide. Present. There we go. Oh, it's working. It's giving me all types of problems this morning. Okay, so this is a project that I adopted first year when I co-taught with Jack Travis. And I think it's really helpful in terms of understanding how different media can be used to demonstrate your design ideas. So when I say self-analysis collage, don't think that that just means cutting out pictures or, you know, taking snapshots off of the internet and doing a digital collage. It could be that you decide to paint. It could be that you decide to sculpt and add some type of dimension or texture to your self-analysis. It just depends upon where you are comfortable or maybe uncomfortable. This is supposed to be an exploration. So explore, experiment, do all of the things. This is one of my favorite collages that we got from one of our students. So essentially, this project is for you to really think about what it is that brought you to this point. What was it that stimulated your desire to become a designer? Be it architectural, fashion, all of these different things, interior design, all of these different elements of design and all these different facets of design have a direct impact on human life and quality of life, right? So if a building is designed well, it could be beneficial to a person. If it's not designed well, it could be negative. We learned about this in people in the built environment. So what about your particular background or your environment or your heritage or what have you brought you to this point that you decided to become a designer architecturally, a designer in interiors, if that's your interest, and a designer in furniture design, wherever your interest lies, I want it to be represented in this collage. So not only will you be doing a visual representation, but you will also be writing. So this was Derek Stroud in his third year. And I thought this was pretty provocative. He's also a photographer. He talked about his, views of what society's views of him as a young Black man, and what some of his goals are as an architect. And he included some portions of a project that he did, his own drawings. I'm not sure if he has any of his photography on here, but either way, these are things that I want you to take into consideration as you're designing. This was Luis Rosa's representation. Luis is a tech fanatic. So this was his, inspiration for becoming a designer. And he was really into Google as a company. So you can see the colors are represented here as well. And cars was the thing for him. He likes minimalist design. So you want to think about why you design, your design style, what, colors and symbols might represent you, what textures or elements, whatever. So we're going to move on. This was Nino Chambers. Nino, I'm not sure what iteration of this collage this is. I feel like this might have been his second iteration, but he included his sketches. He included photographs of, he included his own photography. He included a drawing of his shoes, a photograph of a chair that he built while here in studio, and some buildings that inspire him, and also a photograph of his bow ties that he makes, because he had a business doing that. So there's a whole range of things that you can incorporate in here. I just want something that is very expressive of you, and don't think that it has to be two-dimension. And I'm going to say that again. Do not think that it has to be two-dimension. I do want it in 11 by 17 format. However, if you decide to add 3D elements to it, I'm not mad at you. You will need to take a picture of it to post on Concept Board, but the physical actual thing can be layered. Okay. This was Kayla Hertz, and I took a screenshot of this, so that's why it's pixelated. It did look a lot better. Kayla is very much a person that focuses on nature and being zen and aligned with the elements, etc. So her verbal description was very poetic, and her visual description was very, visual interpretation rather, was very representative of nature and elements that she believes impacts her reasons for becoming a designer. And these are some images I pulled off of the interwebs of people who did self-collage. I just thought they were cool. So I wanted to show them to you just to inspire you and give you some idea of what it is. Now, what's interesting, we'll start here with this, but we'll also get into a lot more of representation in this way of space, like of actual physical space. So this is your first assignment, and this is the format that I'm asking you to do. Due date, iteration 1, that's supposed to say iteration 1, is on Monday. So on Monday, this should be at a level of completion, because you may want to add to it. You will do another iteration of it over the course of the semester, and you will also do mood boards and things like that materials boards for this class. So right now we're going to start with you. The text is very important because the text gives a complete stranger some type of lens into your world, into your mind, into why you do the things you do. I have some physical collages here. I wish I had Kirby's. His was really powerful, but I think it got wet. I have some physical prints here of some of the students' work that first worked on this project. So you're welcome to take a look at them. Some of them are good, some of them are but I want you to be as open and expressive as you feel you need to be in order to do well with this. Like, just really, really be creative. Okay? So that is project 1. Do we have any questions about project 1? Nope. Sure? Absolutely, positively? All right. So I'm actually going to ask you to get started on that today in class. And we will sign back on at, let's see, we're at 1:42. Let's do 3:45 in case you have like started developing it and then you have some questions, and then we can see kind of where you are, and maybe I can give you some guidance in terms of where you might want to go with it. Also, we will talk about your reading for the weekend then. So at 3:45, we will log back on. For those of you who are in the virtual space and you have questions, I will leave the Zoom open. I will just simply pause the recording. And for those of you who are physically in the studio, you can feel free to log out and go about starting your design process for this project. Are you sure you have no questions? All right, I'll see you at 3:45. Thank you. Pause. Deja, what do you mean if you're not a very expressive person? What does that mean? This is the time. And y'all can talk and play music while y'all are in studio. Don't feel like you gotta be like super quiet. I'm not recording anymore, so whatever goes on, goes on. Deja, I would advise you to go on Pinterest and check out some self collage-y type thingies. I'm gonna pin these up actually. She's so there. It is the size of the paper. And I chose that size because it is easy to print 11 by 17s anywhere. What's up, Miss Leah? So what will happen is like you'll have these layers of development. This is like final iteration. You can add like things to it. I wanted him to do more texture, but he didn't. However, he incorporated texture like later on in some other design stuff. So we got there. It's just a process.
Okay. My question is,
What did he do next? Oh. Uh, Probably did that on Photoshop or InDesign. Might be a nail color. Yes. So normally probably use InDesign or Photoshop. More than likely Photoshop. Just manipulate.
Is this the thing? These were nah, but they're okay. Whether or not you could take that physical challenge. One of y'all, maybe two. If there's extra material in here, if y'all want it, if it's not, always we dispose like some bone core chip board in there. Yeah, but I just kind of want to get this stuff cleared out. Those models probably go in the back room, and we just gotta decide what we're gonna do with this. They have not fixed the condensation issue, so be careful walking around.
All right, so just in case for some reason y'all don't have access to concept board anymore, I'm gonna send everybody in the class a concept board link. Yes. Andrea, what's the letters behind your TU email? The numbers rather. Email address. Yeah. 5705. Marco, what's your Tuskegee email? Who answered? And I wasn't, who was that? Oh my God. Harper, how, Sway? Marco? Mm-hmm. AUBIN 1418. Got it. Okay, now Mr. Lee. Six, 3, 2, 1. EDU. Mr. Centron. Is he here? Elijah, Chance. One, 656 at Tuskegee.edu. Who else is here? Mr. Lamar. Four, 8106. Okay. J. Lamar. Bryson. You have the perfect name for a rapper name. Oh, this is great. Hold on, wait a second. I'll tell you it in a minute. B. Williams 8564. 8654. I have numeric dyslexia, so I'm going to do that a lot. Just prepare yourselves. All right, who else is here? Jordan, Andrea. Who's back there? Journey. What's your Tuskegee email? Goodman 1876 at Tuskegee.edu. All right, J. Lamar, V. Williams, J. Goodman, got Mr. Alvin. We get Deja and Tyra. They still here. Deja, I need your email address. D. Coleman something numbers. Thank you. All right, Deja, we got to talk about this whole you're not a creative person thing. So you're gonna have to turn your mic on. So what do you like? So what do you do for creative expression? Do you dance? Do you sing? I know you draw something.
I listen to music. That's the only creative thing.
You're muffled. Listening to music. Okay, so music's an inspiration. What else you got for me? She lives in her headphones. Okay, all right. Do you write music or play an instrument?
I did play I did play a musical instrument, but not anymore.
What did you play when you played?
Trombone,
The who?
trombone.
Trombone. It's a powerful instrument, Deja.
Um,
All right, so I want you to like think about self in terms of your creativity and the type of music that you like to listen to. I mean, there had to be a reason you chose to play the trombone. So that's not like a typical thing to pick up and do. And then think about like your, just start writing words down, first of all. So maybe it helps to just kind of brainstorm. So think about your music and songs that inspire you, maybe musical artists that inspire you and how they express themselves, and maybe you can pull some of that into your self collage. Um, the type of music that you resonate with, the type of space that you resonate with, type of colors that you resonate with. So everybody that I know anyway has like a favorite color or a favorite place that they like to be, something that creates some type of emotion or evokes some type of emotion in them. So these are the things that I want you to kind of just start jotting down and pulling some imagery together to see just pulling some images. So even if you just go online and start grabbing different images of different places that you like to be or different musicians or whatever, those different inspirations are for you that are creative. Um, Pull that together in a file, start dropping that stuff into a file. Write out words that inspire you or that might resonate with you in terms of design. And then we start there. But it could be that your stuff is mostly text. That's a possibility too. But I have to imagine that there's some creative element in you, otherwise you wouldn't have gotten into design specifically. Does that make sense?
yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I'm not sure if y'all have access to it, but every semester I give my architecture studio access to a virtual online library. However, the book that I want you to read from is in the physical architecture library. I just got to go see if I can um, put it on hold with Mr. Kaufman. I don't know what is happening with my computer. Left my charger. Do y'all typically work with like musical in the studio? So why you in the middle? It sounds like dry toast in here. Like I don't. Yes, that's how I feel. How do your creative juices flow without it? My playlist is a little eclectic, so it could get really ratchet really fast, or it'd be like classical music. I mean, if y'all don't mind, I'll put on the thing. I don't have my speaker with me today though.
Anything for Mr. Payton today? Students, I will be right back. Don't let nobody steal my laptop. If for real that happens. But if y'all decide to like leave and come back, just be back by 3:45.
Students, Mr. Cintron, Ms. Coleman, Mr. Aubin, are you there? I know that Elijah's not there. My volume is low.
Not because you wanted to see it, it's just because you left your keys.
I think I had what I'm doing with my life, like, can't get in.
Listen, I thought I was locked out my car the other day. Key fob battery died, not realizing that there's an actual key inside the key fob. Had no idea. You do. It's what all cool kids have. These new cars. Right? Taylor told me, I was like, I was used to my regular key for my, Honda Odyssey.
I rented a car, and I had to plug my TV. I opened the door, I'm like, oh. I put the key in. I mean, put my cell phone down in the middle console, it's like charging it, so. It's like, I'm changing my life. Crossing over the line, checking itself.
Oh, shucks.
Yes.
That's new.
Yes.
I was happy with heated seats and like detection that told me I'm about to run into somebody.
No, it was the, I put on cruise control. It was slowing down as opposed to going down and spin back up. The car was going.
I don't know about to that because I get nervous when I get to it. Also another car.
Nah, it wasn't even close. I mean, it was anything other than the textbook driving distance. It was there.
Oh wow.
So, all right. What's the situation with Mr. Johnson?
All right, Mr. Johnson, please your case.
Uh, can I flip the camera on Zoom? Is that a thing? Yeah, like turn it so it's facing me. Oh, I think I found it. Oh, come on, internet. Dang. All right, wait a minute. All right, so Deja, you can hear me okay? And cool. All right. I'm going to be moving around the classroom. Let me unpause recording. All right, so Mr. Huff, start with you. Since you have people waiting. Supposed to be messing with it.
Mindmap. Started with my name and I just wrote down everything that pertains to things that I like. So a really big part is cooking and hospitality. Obviously, I grew up in the South, so hospitality is a really big thing. And grew up going to hotels and stuff like that. My favorite chefs are Thomas Keller and Gordon Ramsay. And I've had the pleasure of meeting Daryl Schuler and Ashley Clay, which are two Black chefs. Daryl Schuler is the only Black master chef in the world. I like gourmet food. I like formality. Family is really important to me. I like reading, fashion, architectural digest, and graphic design. I'm really big on presentation.
I saw that.
And then this is a layout I'm considering, something kind of 3D.
Okay. So looks like we got a good start. Do you have any questions for me or desire feedback of some sort? I think it's awesome that you're incorporating all of these different elements into your self collage. I'm looking forward to seeing what the 3D elements become. My question to you is, how do you plan on tying your love of food into, because the big thing about gourmet cuisine, it's like there's these different elements, there's the flavors and textures and presentation and everything. So I want you to kind of pick those things apart and really analyze that and see how that juxtaposes with your design style. Does that make sense? Yes, fist pump. Okay, who's next? I be knowing stuff. I be trying to tell you, your professor is dope. Okay. Can y'all see? Can the people on the Zoom see? All right. So what's the 4 words?
Hyper-focus. I
Did
guess,
you legit put tall on there? I mean, that is a big part of your life.
I noticed that whenever I'm trying to get like a start for projects, it takes me a minute because I have a bunch of different ideas, and sometimes when I try to max them up or mix them up, it like it doesn't combine the right way.
Mm-hmm.
But once I get it, I'm able to focus on that part. But just starting off projects, it always takes a second for me to really love what I'm creating.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that this is kind of like the same.
So where do
Starters
you
of the-
typically get creative inspiration from?
I guess really just anything. Like if I see something interesting, I'll be like, oh, that might be nice to start with. Or I guess usually I might start with nature,
Mm-hmm.
or if I see I guess if I see something in nature that fascinates me, that can also be transferred to, I guess, a modern realistic design that has nothing to do with nature. Like, let's say if there was something man-made in a factory that has a similar representation in nature, I would find that interesting. Or it's something that was man-made at some point or was always man-made, can also be found in nature. I find stuff like that to be interesting too.
It's considered biophilic.
What is that?
Biophilic design or biomorphic design. Something that design that is representative of something that is in the natural environment, or even functions similar to something that is biomorphic. Yeah, that's the correct term.
Just
Like a tree, like if
Yeah.
you say this represents a tree, so it might be that I represent the roots and the seeds and leaves, and they all have different functions. So very similarly to what I said to Chance about taking the different elements that are essential to gourmet cooking, you would take the different elements that, like dissect the different elements of whatever to apply it to your creative process or who you are as a creative person. Now, I find it very interesting that you incorporated your height in this because, right, I have a friend who's very, very tall, right? So we always look at things from different perspectives. And you have a different perspective than anyone else in the class because of your height advantage. So take into consideration the views and vistas that you perceive that other people don't necessarily get an opportunity to experience from average height or below average height. That's also important in design. And also take into consideration like things that are not designed to suit you as you are designing, right? When you're designing space or looking at space, doorways don't necessarily take into consideration an extra tall person. Stairs don't necessarily take into consideration the impact on your knees over time, things like that. So these are things that you want to think about they impact you as a designer. Even you being a young Black male, like all of these things come into play. So why do you design? Do you design to make spaces better for other people who are your height and deal with some of the similar things that you have to deal with? Like, just think about that.
I like to, yes, I also like to do, I don't think environmentally friendly is the right word. I guess more practical space that is more sustainable, like sustainable living.
Mhm.
I like the whole idea of sustainable living. And also, I think it's kind of funny that ever since I was little, I was always like, I always did like small things. Like I always liked small cars, like two-door cars. And it was my original dream to have my first car be a two-door car. I mean, it can, but I'm gonna just be squished. Like I always like Miatas. I always wanted a Miata. I won't be able to fit in a Miata. I went to a car show and the wheel was in my chest and I had the pushed all the way back. I also liked I would also always watch these tiny living or tiny homes
A tiny home space. In order for you to experience that, what would have to change? Like these are the things that you could take into because you're not the only tall person in the world, right? So like,
Small, or my design. It could be small, but I guess things would just have to move in a way that can suffice for bigger people that want to live that way. Like in my head, I could imagine, it's already been done. But I can imagine, like, let's say if this was the regular size of the bed, but then another piece of furniture could attach to it, and then it could suffice for somebody else. Or instead of it just being completely small, like everything shrunk, it might just be taller. Like with how people have started using shipping containers to make sustainable living. Even though shipping containers are kind of small, and you just get a bunch of them, put them together like Legos, and then you could make a larger house that's sustainable that just has a bunch of pieces that you can eventually add on. Like stuff like that interests me.
oh, so all of those things, write it down. I'm not sure if it's recording the visual of what you, but it's recording your voice. So that you'll be able to come back to the recording and
And I guess right now we're just trying to record our ideas so that it can be translated into.
visual.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Then, Marco. Wait, you can see me. I don't want you to see me. I want you to see the students. Y'all had to tell me that the camera was backwards. All right, cool. Now we're good. Mm-hmm.
Art is one of the biggest inspiration I have in my life since I was. I used to always draw like anywhere, let's say anywhere in the house or anything I could find. So I always wanted to be a painter. So I never really practiced it to do that, but that kind of draw me into architecture. So also when I'm designing, I also like to take things from nature. Nature is also a big part of my inspiration when it comes to design. So and I also love to paint landscape painting stuff like here. See, just,
Mm-hmm.
see, also I want to go like always like design things with my hand. As I was growing up, I didn't have the appreciation like to buy toys and stuff. I had to be creative to create my own toys like cars, anything it was that I even ball to play. I had to be creative. And me and my friends, we had to like create pretty much everything we play with. So that kind of like gave me a push to be a designer since I was little. So also my very first experience with like architecture, not really architecture, but civil engineering, because my uncle is an engineer. So, and I probably was like 10. And I had the chance, I was like happy to have the chance to actually work on a project with him, working with a whole lot of stuff. Things that a 10-year-old probably would have even done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's good. One day, so you know what? Also, you're gonna become like a great engineer. But that wasn't really my thing. I was more art, kind of like how I ended up being. Like, I wanted to find a way to express myself. Like I could like art. But then as I was working on campus, what I came from it is not so I didn't really know much about picture, and I saw a bunch of knives. And the model was hanging in the hallway. And then I saw something. I started reading it, and architecture. I never forgot. That was like that was a way that I could express myself. Nah, and well, ever since then I fell in love with it. And
So now you just gotta go back and write all that down. No, so then your visuals will be representative of that story, right? So you would talk about your childhood and how you would create something out of nothing, right? And so that's in and of itself, that's sustainable design because you're taking something that somebody else might throw away or whatever, or would consider waste, and creating something new and something useful and purposeful out of it. Then you talk about your relationship with your uncle and how you were inspired to do engineering, but you knew that it didn't quite link your passion of art and, that technical thing. Then you were in school, and one day, just so happened to be walking through the architecture building, and you saw the models and things. It was like, this might be a thing. So now you just got to go write that down and find some visuals to accompany it. You're good to go. Even if you want to paint that story, then I'm not opposed to that either. Okay. Cool in the gang, Mr. Lamar. Hold on, let me take the sliding chair. Mhm.
All of my country, I just know what I want to do. I just know everything that I saw. If I liked it, I wanted to do it. It wasn't until maybe 10th grade, uh, my models were left on the TV and they did a segment on Tyler Berry Williams. And I didn't know what architecture was or nothing like that, but everything they were showing on him basically got my attention. So I started doing research and everything, figured out what architect was and how he basically did his throughout his career. And that basically got my head into architecture, and what basically keeps me going is what I have around here. So it's like a hustle. When I see like open land or construction site turn over there, I get excited because that just makes me think like what can go here, break down the building, see how it's designed. Also, it's a peaceful place. I like the country; it's open, quiet.
Where are you from?
So, but,
Okay.
that's what I like.
That's dope. So, what am I thinking? What am I thinking? What am I thinking? What am I thinking? What other creative outlets? Like, do you farm? Do you garden? Do you plant things? Mm-hmm. To me, first of all, I like the fact that you have a man represented here with things bursting from his mind, right? Very similarly to your hair. So I feel like your hair journey needs to be a part of this because culturally, us as people of color are very in tune with the power of our hair. And I feel like this representation reflects that, but it could do so more. And I low key want that dude to be black, but do the things. But you know, eh, all of the things that encompass Jordan Lamar need to be including the main.
It's the least.
I was going through stuff. I wanted to start off with like why I started architecture to begin with. It was the building blocks, and it was the fact that like I have mathematics very fun. Like I'm very right brained, I think it is. And then I've really been stuck on this whole paper airplane turning into actual jet because I've been studying to get my private pilot's license lately. The paper airplane represents like a dream for me. So this is what I've put together so far, like the paper airplane, and then I guess this would be the smoke behind it, and these are the things that I feel contribute the most to me right now. I'm still brainstorming and trying to add stuff, but this is how far I got.
You're very much like about what's symmetry, which makes sense because you have a mathematical brain. I also low key just want to see you like make a paper airplane and print this out and then put it on the thing, or maybe fold the whole thing into a paper airplane. Have you ever seen, and we'll get into this, there's this artist, I can never remember the name of the type of art that he does. Wait, it'll come to me. It's almost like an optical illusion, right? So you look at it from one angle and it's one thing, and you look at it from another angle and it's a completely different thing. I want you to figure out how to do that. Push yourself, sir. Push yourself. Okay? Ah, Miss Goodman, hold on. Oh, these things are not easy to steer. Oh, shucks. I love Journey in Zen mode. Did you draw this? Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Like me, like I already like that. And I was drawing my son and everything like that, and fashion also. So I started off by talking about that and talking about how I traveled to different cultures and how art was expressed in different places. Also, broadened my perspective of what art can be. Also, architecture. So, talk about.
I'm liking where you have started. I enjoy the graphic that you're rooted and calm in this like kind of creative built environment type situation, right? Because it ties into nature and it ties into the built environment, but I would also like to see aspects of your travel inspirations, and those other pieces of your artistic journey. So be it through, no pun intended, um, be it through music, representations, or
Yeah, but I include
and plus I know you like draw and I feel like you paint too.
yeah, I have on the body. I put words as a pet peeve. I kind of like.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote that. Back to that. All that.
But I also know you to be a very minimalist person. So I don't necessarily want to push you out of your design style, but I want to push you. Like I want to see more visually, if it's not going to overwhelm your artistic process, if that makes any sense. But keep in mind, it's 11 by 17, the dimensions. You don't have to fill up the whole paper also. So there's that. But all that you speak about, just think, how can I represent this visually? I think that's the best way to put it. All right, who did I miss? Anybody? Bryson had to go. Okay, my folk that are on Zoom. Deja, how we looking? Hold on. Um, so I hope all of what was said got recorded because I'm not sure. I can't hear you, Deja. Say what you tried to say again. All right, so she put it in the chat. I'm live on YouTube. Good. Yes, that's good. I can't hear you though. And I don't know if it's my phone. I know partially it's my computer. But if I turn my computer up, it doesn't help. And then did Mr. Gibbons, is Mr. Gibbons still here? Nathan?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you. Perfect. All right,
Guess
so
I
we're
put some headphones in. But yeah, I came up with like 3 concepts so far,
Mhm.
and I'm not sure if you can see.
I can.
Yeah. So one is like with me with phone right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I was gonna have like different colors coming out the headphone since I'm like kind of like a low key vibrant person on the inside, and just like
Mhm.
have my different interests inside.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is still headphones. They have like a hand coming out of it.
Mm-hmm. What does the hand represent?
I'm more of a service to others type of person, so I'm very helpful, and so yeah, that's
Okay.
that's the only 2 concepts I can come up.
I feel like I feel like the first,
Mm.
personally, the first one with the colors and the different vibes coming out the thing would be cool. I do want you to put your service orientedness in there somehow. Maybe it is the hands coming out the ears. Maybe you try it and see if you like it. And if you do, rock with it. If not, then try something else. But look at different symbols that represent service would be my recommendation to you. And also don't be afraid to like print out some pictures, cut them out, paste them, like just experiment over the weekend because like I said, you'll do multiple iterations of this and kind of refine it over the course of the semester. It's just this is your first go round.
Okay.
Okay. So don't be afraid of it. I don't want you to think, oh, I'm not creative. Everybody's creative in some way, shape, or form. It's just you have to be able to represent your type of creativity.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think from what you've told me about your love of music, I think the color and the ear thing comes out really well. Actually, there are people, there are people who see color in music.
Mhm.
What are they called? It's called synesthesia, musical synesthesia. I'll type it in here for you. And I think that is an awesome way to kind of represent the different tones and styles of music that you are interested in by showing it in color, because color also translates very well into other parts of design. So be it through interiors, be it through architecture, be it through fashion, color is extremely important in how one expresses himself. So if you can tie together music, color, and design, then I think you've got something very solid. Even if it's very abstract, it's still, you know, resonates with people.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you good?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay. All right, everyone. So Monday. Wait, don't let me not mute myself. Monday, you will have a photograph of your representation, your self-analysis, as well as a physical thing. If you need to print 11 by 17, shouldn't be hard to print somewhere on campus, even if it's across the street in Wilcox-C. So that's where we at. And there's foam core all up and through here, like literally. So get you a piece of foam core, cut it, mount it, do the thing. Have a good weekend. Yes, ma'am. Printing. Oh, my children are so demanding. Be at home in 40 minutes. Printing can be done in the lab, I think. The printing lab across from the it's right next to the multi-purpose room. When you walk into Wilcox-C.
Yeah, I'll find it out.
It's, okay, so First Year Studio, you know where that is, right? It's directly across the hall. Yeah, so if you're coming out of First Year Studio, to your immediate left. No. Wilcox-C is the building where my office is. Yeah. Oh, that's Margaret Murray. I'm talking about the printing lab is in